Welcome, everyone, to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. This week, we're catching up with the familiar Bachelor Nation face, Caila Quinn. If you remember, she made it to Fantasy Suite Week on Ben Higgins' season and then did Paradise, where she was famously in a love triangle with Jared and Ashley. We're very excited to catch up with Caila, but before that, you know how we got to do it, Mike. We got to get into our hot takes. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. We got to get into the hot takes.
You guys caused quite a stir, and you had a lot of ladies out there smiling over the weekend because there was I want to say it's already gone viral, a viral photo of you and Nate working out in the gym, and it definitely caused quite a stir. So how did that develop? How are you guys workout buddies now? What's going on here?
I mean, we just homies that live in the same city, you know?
Okay.
I absolutely adore working out. I call it my sanctuary. Nate feels the same way when it comes to working out. So it's two homies getting a workout in, you know? Why not?
So I got to ask you, man. I mean, obviously, it was big news in Bachelor Nation last week when him and Michelle broke up. You know, former Bachelorette, her pick. You know, they broke up. 6 months or less. They broke up after only a little less than 6 months. So what? Did you guys talk about anything? Did he seek your advice? Like, how is it? What's his temperament right now? How is he doing with the whole breakup?
They definitely spoke a little bit. I personally don't ask Nate or people in general a lot of questions when it comes to their relationship unless they feel comfortable speaking about it. But I can definitely say that Nate, it sucks that like people assume a lot of things.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you saw that he basically came out and basically wanted to put an end to a lot of rumors out there. So he basically gave a laundry list of things that he wanted to clarify. I don't know if you saw that. But.
Oh, no, I definitely, I did see that. But it's just, if, let's say I dated a woman from Bachelor Nation, we break up, people automatically going to assume Mike Johnson did this. When that's truly unfair, or they're going to assume this girl did this. This is why I'm not going to lie about it, man. I'm extremely scared to date a woman in Bachelor Nation. It's just because people will take sides simply based upon one of two things. One, your gender, or two, what you've posted on social is perceived. And I say how you've posted on social because at the end of the day, every single human being on social posts what they do.
Yeah.
Want you to see.
Yeah, and especially how maybe people were perceived on the show, right?
Yeah, and then how people were perceived on TV as well. So I could definitely say that Nate, my positive ass, Nate is definitely getting some of that rubbed off every time I'm hanging out with him. So there's that for sure.
Okay, so hey man, I wish him nothing but the best, and
I wish both of them
him and Michelle, Michelle, of course.
Yeah, him and Michelle, nothing but the best. Shout out to our sister station.
It's never easy. But anyway, man, let's get into these hot takes. I want to ask you, man, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. There's a saying. I've actually gotten this advice from my in-laws as well. Going to bed angry. You know that saying, don't ever go to bed angry, like one of the keys to a successful relationship. Yeah. Do you buy that?
Nope.
You don't?
I don't buy it. Nope. 0%.
Why is that?
I don't buy it at all because you can't make a decision or you can't make a statement that is blanket for everybody. And what I mean by that is when I was in my last relationship, my ex would like to take time to gather her thoughts and think about the situation. Me, I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go now. You know what I mean? And if I'm dating someone that is not that type of individual that's ready to go now, they may say something out of character. They may say something that they may forgot to have said something that they really wanted to say. You just don't never know. And so I think that is bad advice because you can't have a blanket statement. Now, what I do agree with is this. Being peaceful before you go to bed. Don't go to bed saying, F you, and then go to bed, right? Say something more along the lines of,
That's hard to do.
It is, but a relationship of any caliber is hard, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think a better thing to say is, hey, I'm pissed off right now. I would love to talk about it tomorrow or the next day.
I feel you.
And you can say that and go to bed. Don't have malice behind the words when you say it because it's about the inflections, right? 80% of communication is body language. So I think that's a fair thing to say in comparison to F you and go to bed,
Yeah.
What about you?
It's funny because what you mentioned about your ex, I was more like her where I needed to, go off to the side, maybe gather my thoughts, cool down a little bit. Rachel, her conflict resolution style was that she wanted to handle it now. So we've gotten to, we've adapted and like now we know each other a lot more when it comes to that. But as far as going to bed angry, I don't necessarily think it's bad advice. Like I think it's nice in theory and it's definitely something to strive for, but
To strive for, yeah.
yeah, like I feel like at the end of the day, it's not real life, right? Like sometimes arguments are just too heated and too complicated to figure it all out in one night. Like it's happened in my relationship with Rachel, and it's happened in past relationships as well. Sometimes sometimes it was like we're just too damn tired, right? Like we have this argument at night, it gets contentious. Yeah, it gets contentious. We want to go to bed because we have to wake up early and be productive, right? So sitting there and unpacking everything, we got to get this right before we go to bed and unpacking everything. It could lead to more arguing and just, you going around in circles once again. So I believe that sometimes you just have to take a beat, collect your thoughts, and just pick up things where, when tempers have cooled off a bit and, really try to come back to the table with peace and resolution on your mind and just seeing things from the other person's perspective. And vice versa, right? Like look yourself in the mirror, see where you went wrong in the conversation, right? Like what are you guilty of? And hopefully the other person could do the same thing. And when you guys come together, whether that's a day later, 2 days later, 3 days later, you finally resolve it. But,
I like that piece. 3 days is like, hey, you got 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to take forever on it. And you made a great point about it's not real. It's not real life.
Yeah.
If person X cheats on you, for example, you ain't going to bed happy.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Like before I cuss your ass, cuss you out, I need to gather my thoughts before I come at you crazy.
I mean, if anything, it could maybe even be like unhealthy and give you like a false sense of security, right? Like it's like you have a huge argument and then it's like, oh, we got to make peace before we go to bed. I'm sorry. But then you still have those lingering feelings, and that possibly comes out in a blowout fight later on down the line because you're still not over it. Like I'd rather take the time to get over stuff, really work things out in my head, and then come together and work it out between the two of us, and really resolve it. You know what I'm saying? Than just patching it up and then having it blow up later. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, just patching it up for PC because some people are not conflict. I'm not afraid of conflict, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, via my social. Some people rather just not deal with conflict. And those people are just as beautiful, They really just not deal with conflict at all. So what you're saying is exactly what they may do is just, you may make somebody shut down, which is, as we both know, the worst thing within relationships is to just shut down.
Yeah. Right? No, you want to give that person space to be themselves and be able to communicate.
I'm going to tell my children when they get married, hey, Dad, what's good advice? I'm not going to say, don't go to bed angry. No. F that. I'm going to say, make sure you have your thoughts gathered before you come to your partner, whether that takes an hour or 3 days. And I feel that also with that being said, make sure you know your partner. And when you know your partner, you got to continue to remember it. You can't forget it 70 years down the road.
Yep.
Or know who they are now. They may have changed. That's all that. But you said some things that kind of lead into my hot take. Well, you had mentioned that, I'm glad I get to ask you this one first. You had mentioned that, see your point and how you could have been wrong or see it from their point of view, things of that nature. So my hot take for you, especially right now, man, what we got going on in the world, what we got going on in America, can you be friends with someone who feels differently about something that happened in the news, something politically?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a tough one, bro. I mean, I here's the thing. Like I guess I'm putting it in my own context and I'll explain now. Like I think you can. It's very tricky though, obviously, because on one hand, you have somebody who, let's say, you grew up with, right? Like for me, that would be a 30-year plus relationship, someone who's been with me through thick and thin, has always been there for me no matter what. And yeah, they're practically family. And sometimes it is family, right? Where,
lots of
they're actual blood relatives. And on the other hand, you have beliefs that are on the complete opposite spectrum of what this person believes in. And it makes you look at them sideways and makes you question a lot of things about that person, right? So it kind of like begs the question, do you throw away a lifelong relationship because you don't see eye to eye with that person or not, right? I think everyone is different, and I think every person in their own relationships handles things differently. Like for me, I compartmentalize. I compartmentalize
Okay.
things, and honestly, I just know, like, I know certain people, they have certain beliefs. It is what it is. I've known these people for a long time, and some of them are in my own family. And it's like, I just try not to talk about that stuff. Honestly, like, I try to avoid those types of subjects. Maybe that's not the best way to do things, but I just try to focus on the positivity of my bond with that person and what got us to that long-term relationship in the first place. If it does come up, obviously I will disagree. I will argue with them. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they may be so entrenched in their views and I may be so entrenched that it may not go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm going to throw away, a lifelong relationship for somebody's opinion on the matter, even though in my view, it may be fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's fucked up that you think that way. I don't, and I'll tell them that. I mean, if it does come up.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't know. What about you, man? It's just tough. It's a tough.
No, it is tough. I feel that when we pass courtesy, when we give someone that kindness, that we could hear and maybe hear a different perspective. Like for me, when the Roe versus Wade thing happened, if anyone wants to know my thoughts, they can go check it out on my Instagram, right? I stand on one side, but I've definitely learned and heard things from the people that feel differently, right? I definitely learned from like, oh, wow, I didn't know what that was. And I still love and care about those individuals. I would agree with you and say that simply it depends on what specific topic we're talking about. And if you are able to have and give me that same amount of kindness and courtesy that I will definitely bring to the table for you. If you can't give me that, then I just don't want to talk to you in general.
No, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there when it comes to levels. Like there are levels, like there are certain things and certain beliefs, certain opinions where, yeah, I mean, that may be a quote unquote deal breaker with even somebody that, you've been friends with forever. You know what I'm saying? Or,
oh, man.
Shit, families fight all the time and they don't talk for years over this type of stuff, right? So, yeah, like I think that, there are levels, but yeah, for something, for certain opinions, maybe not so much, but yeah, I definitely think there's levels to this, like you said. And, yeah, I mean.
Hey, Brian, let me ask you this. Heads or tails? Pick one.
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. I bet. Open up. Tails this is the question. I'm going to double down with that. It's not your family or friends. It's your spouse.
Ooh. I mean, Rachel ain't going to put up with that shit.
Yeah.
No,
it's your
man.
spouse, though. You and Rachel see eye to eye on something politically.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to that, obviously, with everything going on in America and, a lot of these decisions affecting, Black people more than anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't even be right for me to think opposite of what my wife thinks, you know what I'm saying? Her being Black and all, it's like, it would be like, I wouldn't expect her to put up with that from me, you know what I'm saying? So
I love the answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's, especially in my situation, but like in any situation, I just think it's tough. I mean, some people say opposites attract, but not in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you kind of have a lot. I think you're going to get along way more if you have the same morals and ethics and just, you kind of follow the same guidelines when it comes to, politics, maybe not so much religion, but in today's climate, I just feel like it's segregated things so much more.
But that's definitely a hard one, because people do change as we get older. And I just hope to never have to go through that. And for those that have, I'd love for y'all to, just DM us and let us know how that took place and how you guys handled it.
Amen.
But I think this is a perfect segue. I would love to hear Caila Quinn, our beautiful guest today, aka Austin native resident. Also, would love to get her thoughts on this. So let's talk about Kayla.
Welcome to the show, Kayla. How you doing today?
Great. So excited to be here, Bryan.
Thank you so much for being here. Bryan and I both been wanting you here, so it's great to have you.
I know, but I've been meaning to have you over to my house. You're not too far away in Austin, and I have some single ladies coming over in 2 weeks.
Uh-oh. Well, Mike is single and ready to mingle right now.
I'll let both of y'all speak.
We're having a water slide party, so you can like
water slide party. I'm there.
DMs.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll slide in person. That sounded bad.
There you
I'll
go.
slide in person, definitely. So I am there for you being a wing woman. For a water slide, I'm a big kid at heart, so I love it.
Awesome.
My bucket list goal is to find Mike his wife. You know that, right, Kayla?
I didn't know that, but can I be your like third wheel?
Yeah, listen, if you want to pull an assist, I'll pass it right to you.
Okay, perfect.
How have you been since we've seen you on our TV screens?
I've been great. A lot has changed. I think it's been 5 or 6 years since I've been on the show. Met a guy in person, not on TV, fell in love, got married, had a dog, and now we just bought a house.
So talk about that. Give us a little bit more detail. How has married life been? You just celebrated your 1 year, right?
Yeah, Bryan, we did.
Wow.
Celebrated
Congrats.
1 year. We got married in Florida and it was amazing. And I'm just lucky because I have a partner who's just like really chill, down to earth, kind of like you guys, like a guy's guy.
Guys, love that. Well, let's see what this guy's guy did. Let's see the ring. Come on now, show it off, flaunt that.
Oh, thank goodness. I usually sometimes forget to put it on, but there you go.
Flawless victory. Love it.
Thanks. Nick is my same age. We're both 30. He's from Chicago. So we're both Midwesterners.
Okay.
And that's one of the things we connected over. We were set up when we met 5 years ago. And I still think to this day, I'm so grateful for my girlfriend because she could have set him up with anybody and she chose me. And I'm the lucky girl.
So was it like...
Talk about that setup, yes.
Yeah, talk about the setup. Because I don't like setups. Or I've never liked
do I.
setups. Just because there's a chance that it could go wrong and then it might, it might damage the relationship between all three of you. I don't know. I just rather just do it organically on my own. Like I don't want any pressure of people setting us up, but it worked for you. So tell us a little bit more about that setup. How did it happen?
No, but I get where you're coming from because if you run in the same circles, you don't want to messy the waters because you're just going to see them over and over again. But we got really lucky because I had been dating in New York and so had he for a couple years. And you guys know when you're dating in a big city, people are texting multiple people at once. So you never know what relationship you're in, what the status is. So I had been just so sick of dating in New York that I was actually about to move to San Francisco when my girlfriend texted me, "Hey, do you want to get drinks tonight?" And I had literally ordered boxes that morning and was going to move in a couple months. And I was like, what the heck? We'll get a couple of drinks. It's New York. Maybe this is a good farewell. And I remember being at this little downtown bar in New York called the Wren, and it was packed shoulder to shoulder. And I see this really cute Italian guy kind of like weaving his way through the crowd. And it was New York Fashion Week. So I was with a bunch of girls and we were all dressed up, full lashes, heels on. And he introduced himself to every other girl at the table and saved me for last because he wanted to talk to me the longest.
My man, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, he had it all planned out, like on his walk over to you.
Yes,
that's like
right.
He's got moves.
I know what she looks like.
Yeah, your girlfriend definitely showed him your IG. 100%.
Oh, he totally did. And you know what? He even says this to this day. Well, I kind of got it out of him. I was like, oh, were you really interested in dating me when you saw my photo or heard about me? And or did you just want to like sleep with someone from the show, And
you were just bold with it like that, huh? You straight up asked him.
Come on.
I love that. I
want to know his answer. What did he say?
He said, of course, he just wanted to sleep with me. But then I
sound like you. Honest.
Once I got to know you.
Exactly. No, it's good. I keep his life interesting, keep it spicy. He's never bored. That's for sure.
Well,
but
5 years later, we were here.
Saying, Yeah. And I think setups are the best thing. And so it's now my mission in life to set someone else up because I feel
Like
like it's
return the
so
favor to
hard.
somebody. Yeah.
Totally pay it forward.
Kayla, I gotta go back. Nick you guys had met at a dinner. He was very smooth. I approve because I would do the exact same. Say the best for last, talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I love the man. He's an honest guy. He's like, yeah, of course I want to hit. But then he's like, wow, I actually like this woman. And, 5 years later, you guys have been married for a year. What, did you anticipate getting married to him, or did you just want to hit also? Because, it's a 50-50 world that we live in, for one.
Well, trust me, it wasn't like, dating, you guys know, it's not all physical. I think I was always looking for that person, but I think I was a little jaded after being hurt so many times after like feeling a lot of rejection and just wanting to be my own independent person, that I was like, you know what, at that point in my life, if I never was with a partner, if I never met someone, I'd be okay. I love who I am. I love what I do. I love the community I'm building. And when you're secure in yourself, you don't need someone else to complete you. They just complement you. Yeah. And so when I met him, I'm so grateful that it was that time because I felt so secure in my life and that I didn't rely on him for anything.
And Kayla, at what point, would you say you realize, okay, this could be my person? I like where this is going. Was there a point in the relationship, and if so, at what point, and what was that sign that you got?
I feel like almost a couple months and a year into our relationship, I could see him being the one because we were traveling a lot together. He traveled a lot for work, and he would just scoop me up and take me with him. And we just have a lot of the same foundational priorities in life. We both wanted to just focus on careers. We're both very driven. We both wanted to travel and see the world and then eventually start a family. And I think when all of those things align with timing, I just kind of knew that he was the one because also it was just so easy. Dating shouldn't be hard. And we just clicked and he felt like my best friend from the beginning.
I love that. Talking about that though, I want to know, so you guys just celebrated your first year of marriage. Mm-hmm. What lessons have you learned during being in a relationship during a pandemic, right? Which is obviously crazy in itself. And just the first year of marriage, how's that? What advice could you give?
I mean, it's not always perfect. Brian, you probably are on the same page. It's never as easy as it seems.
Correct.
People who make it look easy, they are lying. Yeah, Instagram lies to you. It's not always perfect. But what I learned in our first year, and this is so important, this is nuggets of gold that therapists will tell you, that it is so important to set boundaries with your partner.
Amen.
Boundaries in a relationship will save you. They will be what your partner relies on to understand you when you are emotional, because we're on this emotional roller coaster. And when I say boundaries, I mean, whatever you guys are arguing about in a relationship, whether it's, you're on Instagram too much, or you play too many video games, or I feel ignored on the weekends, whatever that thing you're feeling inside with your partner, to resolve it, all you have to do is communicate concrete boundaries. And the reason why I say that is because I hate to say it, but to me, men happen to be very black and white. So they just want to know the rules. And so they're never going to guess what you're thinking. But when you give them 3 things that will make you feel better, anyway, it helps them understand and speak your language.
For example, what were you going to say?
Well, the biggest hurdle that my husband and I had to overcome in our relationship was social media, how much I was on my phone. Have you been there?
It's your business. It's your business, right?
Exactly. No. And you guys know this exact situation. And he would feel really uncomfortable whenever I had my phone out when he came home from work. He felt like I was always recording, birthdays and candles and dinners and food eats first, as most people know the saying with Instagram. But I could tell that it was really taking a toll on our relationship. People got irritable. I'm saying people, no one specific. And and sometimes our feelings would get hurt and we would say things that we didn't mean. And so some boundaries that we set that helped us communicate better were, I won't have my phone 2 hours after he comes home from work, just because I feel like he had the pressure of the day on his shoulders. I don't know what's walking through the door. He doesn't want whatever emotional baggage or stress to be seen by the world. He just wanted to feel like our home was a safe space. And it took us a while to communicate that, but creating that healthy boundary of 2 hours, no phone really helped us. And sorry, those headphones make me laugh. But another healthy boundary was at night, I charge my phone in another room. I don't even keep it in our bedroom because I don't want the notifications. I want to be fully present. And he has an alarm on his phone. So I always charge my phone in the kitchen and leave it there. And in the morning, I know it'll still be waiting for me.
It will be. What does Nick do for a living, by the way?
He works in tech investing.
Such an awesome. Everybody in Austin, Bryan, does tech.
It's a tech capital becoming, at least.
So
yeah.
tech. It is so tech.
Mike, I'm ready for you to come up with an app or something.
I might be working on something.
He's a sex coach. Maybe. I don't know. I see something in that realm.
There you go.
Next subject. So from what you just said, Kayla, right? From what you just said in regards to boundaries and just the beauty of communication and conversation, how do you feel? This is one of our hot takes, right? How do you feel about the old saying, the old adage, you should never go to bed angry?
I don't believe in that.
Okay. Explain.
I don't care. I'll go to bed angry. I'll go to bed sassy. There's so many emotions. I feel like
you're sleeping in the same bed also?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Sleeping in the same bed is fine. It's fine. My thing is like, I would rather be calm and go into a conversation without the heatedness, without the fire, without the tension, and having really processed my emotions because I'm a Sagittarius. So I will just I like talk through my thoughts, and sometimes I say the wrong thing first and I have to apologize. So I'd rather calm down.
What about your conflict resolution styles? Like when you guys first came together, were you on the same page when it came to that? Because I know, like Mike and I talked about this earlier in a bunch of podcasts ago. Like Rachel and I, like she was the one that wanted to solve things right then and there. I needed to take a beat, step away, gather my feelings. And then I would come back to the table a little bit more calm, and I feel like we'd be able to resolve that better. So she had to adapt to that, and understand how I functioned. And, we're a lot better now, but how was it with you guys?
I mean, that's amazing. Rachel is able to, listen to you and you guys can meet in the middle.
Yeah.
When it comes to our conflict style, we're both firstborns. And when you're a firstborn child, you are used to being the leader. You are used to saying what's on your mind. And I hate to say it, but you're used to getting your way a lot of the time. And so when you have two firstborns in a relationship, we just did a lot of butting heads. And I'm just a fiery personality. He's a fiery Italian. And so we kind of are like a burst of conflict. And then we calm down after 1 minute, say, I'm sorry, and let it go.
Just like that.
Just like that. I just feel like we say what we're feeling in the moment and we never hold anything in. And that's healthy for us because we don't hold grudges. We're not passive aggressive. And then we say how we feel. And then we ask each other, why do you feel that way? And talk through it. And I think that that's really helped us.
I'm a firstborn, and I'm super, we'll see. I wonder how.
Do you agree with that? Because I feel like they say middle children are always trying to prove themselves.
Yeah.
They feel unseen and they're trying to prove themselves to the world, to their parents, but most of all to themselves. And enough is never enough. And then for the youngest children, they say that, they're the babies. You kind of spoiled sometimes and
sorry,
but also independent, but also very independent. You get shit done. You are like your own warrior.
Yeah, there's some truths to everything you just said. For sure.
There's some truth to what you said in regards to being a leader for firstborn, but I completely disagree about trying to get your way because I grew up in a household of all women and my way was never heard. Ever heard.
Gender plays, you're right, that's true. Gender plays a lot into it.
Well, I wanted to know, so I saw you guys were in New York, right? What made you guys even come to Austin?
So we moved from New York a year ago after living there 5 years. And I think we were just ready for a new chapter. You know, we turned 30 and I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, but do you ever feel like you've outgrown a phase?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And you're like, I'm ready for what's next. And a lot of the times I know it's hard for people because you can't change or you're like waiting for what's next, but you can't make that happen, whether it's meeting a person, whether it's changing a job, whether it's having a baby. Sometimes that's out of your control, but changing a city was in our control. And it's been the coolest, first year of marriage for us because it's brought us together. We rely on each other, we're each other's teammates, and we're starting from zero. And it's nice to write our own story without having the influence of anyone else.
I love that.
That's awesome. Now, Kayla, we got to get into a little bit of a messy situation. We got to go back to, I guess people are calling it Snake Gate.
I knew this was gonna happen.
We had to talk about this a little while back. You got into a little hot water on social media when you posted a video to your story of someone, it was a gardener, I believe, killing a snake with scissors, and that garnered a lot of backlash. So can you just tell us, like, what happened in that situation, just like in your own explanation, and what have you learned from that experience?
Well, I want to start off by saying I should not have posted it in the first place. I should not have done that, reacted that way. And I take complete responsibility. I feel horrible for that entire situation. It's even giving me like anxiety thinking about it. But I just did the wrong thing. Sometimes the lines are blurred on social media, and I think I posted it in the moment and I feel horrible. And it happened a couple months ago. And basically what happened is I'm a city girl in the suburbs. And after living in New York for so long, I am finding my way transitioning here in Austin. And I wasn't used to as much wildlife. We've had 2 rattlesnakes in our garage, and I almost stepped on one, and I had a panic attack, and I lived in fear for a couple months to even step out of our front door that I might, see another one.
Oh.
And so there's a lot of fear that built up in my body that just made me react in the wrong way. And I completely apologize. It was completely the wrong thing. And the other 2 snakes, we relocated humanely. But this one in the backyard, we had just gotten a puppy, and I was really afraid that he would play with it and feel like it's okay to be around. And of course, there's other snakes that are deadly. And I think I 100% reacted in the wrong way. I 100% shouldn't have posted it. I 100% take responsibility, and I'm really sorry. And I just wish I could take it back.
As someone that grew up in Texas all my life, and we're both in the same city, I have your back. I could definitely see living in a house full of women, growing up in that space. There's been many stories that I have that some of the ladies in my household were definitely terrified of going outside because of X, Y, and Z, being in the yard, which you just never know. And then 2, I know you personally, and you were like uber sweet. And so if anyone thinks the opposite, you're super sweet. And I know that wasn't like your intent, wasn't how it was received, and you've seen what took place, and I know that you are genuinely apologetic about it. But yeah, welcome to Texas. There's a lot of snakes. Should have told you that.
And I think I hate to say it, that nothing justifies anything. I think the reason though that my reaction was to post it is because I never want to be the girl that makes my life look perfect. I try and post, the real life, and the raw stuff. So no makeup or whatever's happening in the house. We had our house flood, I haven't said this yet, but a car crashed into our house 2 weeks into owning it.
Oh, geez.
But
is everybody okay? Was there a lot of damage?
I feel horrible. It was a person right across the street. It was the week of Thanksgiving, and her mother was in town, and she mixed up the brake and the gas, and her like 80-year-old mother slammed on the gas, and we got it on the Ring camera, and she like catapulted into our house. It was crazy.
Wow.
But just for privacy reasons, I didn't want to share the story or the video on social media. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, just being a new homeowner, transitioning in life, it's not always perfect. And sometimes you make mistakes. And I definitely made a mistake, and it won't happen again.
And Kayla, I'm interested to know how did your husband handle that whole situation? Because obviously, people were putting you through the ringer and criticizing you. Like, how did he act as that support system for you? And what was his reaction to the whole thing?
Oh, he is the most supportive man in the entire world. And I'm so lucky because I just have him as a shoulder to lean on. And he was there when it happened. And he is barely on Instagram, so he didn't even see it till later. And it was like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have posted that. And we talked through it. But he was just there to help me feel like I can be human and say I'm sorry and move on with my life. And I'm not a horrible person, because I really did internalize that, and then really had to think like, what can I do to be better and just react better in life? And how can I learn from this? And he was that person to talk through it with.
I'm happy that you have that person, Nick, and your husband, and you guys are able to talk through it. You mentioned Nick saying that, babe, you're a human being, right? But you also are an influencer, and in times, I am not new to backlash whatsoever, and I think that you have a pretty darn squeaky clean, public-facing image, and so this may be one of the first and only times that someone may say something whatsoever negative about you, and I mean that from a most loving aspect. How do you feel when it comes to being an influencer and speaking out against things that you may feel are wrong in the public eye? Do you, how does your brain operate when it comes to things like that?
I think it's really hard to define what you want to speak out about. Mm-hmm. You're right. I think you have to process it, and you can't obviously speak on every topic. Correct. Because there's so much happening, and we're not news source. Like, no one follows. I don't follow Bryan, and I don't follow you, Mike, to be my news source. I'm not like, oh, what's Mike up to today? Like, is he going to tell me, what's going on in politics? No, I think that's hopefully where people can be a little more forgiving. But I do think it's important to speak out when history is being made, and because we do have a voice. And I do think it's important to speak on topics that, where you can evoke change, and when it's personal to you.
Has anyone ever asked you questions like this before in an interview?
No.
Okay, I can feel that from you.
I know.
Putting you on the hot seat a little bit.
I can feel it, Bryan.
This is what we do here, though. We talk it out.
Toasty.
Yeah.
I know.
Talking it out is all about thought-provoking conversations. So.
Really talking it out. No, I mean, it's hard because I am not the person. I'm not generally the person to post about that kind of stuff. And I think that's for a reason. And I think it's because I'm really protective over what I talk about and my community.
Definitely.
So
when it comes to that, and you and Nick, for the first time going through the backlash from social media, what would you want people to know that almost don't treat you, or the three of us, as human beings, at times? What would you say to that?
I would just I don't know. I hope that people pause before they send a message, because we are real people, and some stuff really hurts. Like, you have no idea what came out with this whole situation. Like, people were messaging my family, messaging me, saying that my head should be cut off. They were messaging my husband saying he should divorce me. They were just like slews of paragraphs and just tons of words that I didn't even know existed. But it really, I think what I want people to know is when you send a message, people like us, we're real people and we internalize it. And it's almost like someone threw something at you and it's like you can't get it off. Like they threw their words at you and it's like ink that you just like can't get off your body, and it seeps into your skin and you feel it and you carry it for months at a time. And we all make mistakes, and you just hope that people are forgiving and can move on. I don't know if I explained that well, but I just feel like people's words are really internalized and it's hard to shake and feel like you're okay. Or I don't know. It's hard to move on.
I think that in our position, it's kind of cool, not because like what people think is cool, but because we have learned a certain level of understanding, right? Of humanity and being human, and like, hey, that may have been wrong, but hey, let's not completely charge that person and come after their entire family or, go out of their name for X, Y, and Z. And so I would say from a positive standpoint that you've seen how people can come at you, which the funny thing, they would never do that in person. They would never. Right. You're like the sweetest person. They would never do that in person. No. But in our position, it's kind of cool that for those of us that have taken that heat to now give more kindness to others. Right.
Yeah.
And so, Kayla, in addition to obviously that it affected not only you, but the people around you, your family, how did it affect? Because, from what I understand, it also affected your livelihood in a sense, right? Your ability to make money. Like people even reached out to brands that you work with. How did that make you feel?
People are entitled, all I can say is I did the wrong thing. And, I know that this is a gift. We are all gifted with this life, this job,
platform,
this career, this community, this platform. This is a gift. And I did the wrong thing, and I will forever I'm very grateful for it. So, what people don't realize is when we create content, we do this for a living. I either try to educate, inform, or entertain people with what I post, and it's all free to them. And so these partnerships that align with who you are, I'm not going to name brands, but these partnerships are our livelihood. And yeah, it did affect me. And you know what? I believe in God, and I think he wanted to humble me and slow down my life. And I'm just taking this time to just really spend time with my husband and just the people around me and ground myself. And you know what? At the end of the day, I have a background in marketing. If I go back to a 9-to-5, like it's okay. I just want the reason why I do what I do, the reason why I'm on social media is because I want to connect with other people. That's my whole mission in life, is to connect on a meaningful level, whether it's you're going through a relationship, a breakup. Some of these women I've been talking to for 6 or more years, and I just want to connect with them. And the day that they don't feel connected to me, the day that they want me to move on, I will. I do it because I love these people and these women, and we're growing up together.
That's like a lot of the stuff that I feel like people don't see. Obviously you had this blemish on your social media platform, and it seems like you've owned up to it. You realize it was a mistake. You apologize for it through and through. And, I wish people really harped on a lot more of the positive things that you do, right? It sounds like us being influencers, like I can't tell you how many times, like how many messages, Mike, do you receive from people that, were inspired by you or you've helped them out? Kayla, I'm sure the same thing, but you really don't hear those types of stories, right? Like all that gets swept under the rug. That's not news. That's not tea. But then when, you do slip up once, now it's blasted, and, people throw you into this category and they don't really see all those other positive things that you're doing for people. That wasn't a question. It was just a statement, I guess.
No, right. I think I appreciate you saying that, and you're right. And I connect with that, and you're right. All of the the years, all the good moments, all the helpful content, all of the traveling, tips and all this stuff, all the relationship connections. Like, you're right. Sometimes, I don't know. I just think this is hard. And social media is the wild, wild west. We're all redefining, we're all learning, we're all evolving. And it's just hard to, grow with it sometimes or know what to do.
I think that the thing to do is to learn to, genuinely be apologetic when you've done something wrong, which you have, and to continue to move forward.
Well, I appreciate you guys like wanting to talk it out. I appreciate you guys having me on here because I feel like you guys you create a safe space and I appreciate that you wanted to talk about it and you understand.
Talking about it. You understand? I completely understand. It came full circle, Bryan. It came full circle. Yes. I completely understand.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you for being so vulnerable, honest, and open. That's what we do here on this podcast. But
100%.
I don't know, Mike. Yeah, well, I wanted to get to something a little bit more positive.
Yes.
I love positive.
Yeah, let's talk positive. Let's talk paradise.
Can we? Ooh. Can we please?
So
honestly, that's how we all got here.
You were actually involved in one of the more famous love triangles on the beach, paradise history back in the day with Jared and Ashley. I actually remember watching that. What are your memories? I actually do. That was one of the, it was a huge story at the time, right?
The books.
Yeah, we're dusting off the books. Yeah. Exactly. Going back in time. What do you remember from that time? What did you take away from that situation and everything that you went through during that season?
Well, I want to start by saying I'm so happy for them. They have a baby. You guys, I'm sure I've talked to them a million times. Everything worked out the way it's meant to be. I'm so happy for them. And to turn back time, I think what I take away from the situation, what do I remember? It was so long ago, but it wasn't the best for me. To start off, obviously, I was in a love triangle that I didn't anticipate. When they asked me to do it, I was told I was meeting other people as well. And when I arrived on the beach, there was only one single person for me to go on a date with. And I just have this like pit in my stomach still. And I still feel really sick about it because I don't feel like everything was fully resolved. And it doesn't feel good to think that there's someone out there that hates you. I don't know if she hates me now. I don't know if we've moved on from things, but I didn't have closure with that. And the last thing I remember is, that feeling of someone being like, wow, I really hate you. So
can you explain that a little further? What did you feel wasn't resolved per se?
I think I owe both of them an apology. First of all, because when I was going there, I had just 3 weeks, maybe a couple months prior, been off The Bachelor. I was just seeing somebody else. And so I think I was still processing that experience, which was very real to me, that when I went on Paradise a couple months later, I was very guarded. And when I went on a date with Jared, I think he was more invested than I was. And I was kind of looking for, fun times in my 20s. And when you have a third party who is interested in Jared, I think it was just like a tense situation. Obviously, there's a love triangle, and I feel like I owe them both an apology because I should have let them see each other. I should have just let that happen. And I shouldn't have stayed with him for as long as we did. I don't think what happened was very smooth or graceful, and I don't think I handled it very well. I think at the end of the day, what happened was I was really afraid. And I felt really alone and I didn't connect with anybody there. And So I was trying to connect with Jared and maybe stay in a relationship that wasn't meant to be.
So looking back, you maybe would have just, let them basically flush out their feelings for each other. And if he came back, great. If not, kind of just let them handle their situation. And instead of just trying to maybe force it with you in a sense, like, I don't know if I'm asking.
Yeah, I think we were just seeing each other.
Yeah.
When we left the show, we were seeing each other, and I think I should have we were just talking, like,
yeah,
I should have broken up with him and not left with him, if that makes sense. I think that my character was questioned, and understandably, I think she really loved him, and they were meant to be. They're so happy together. They have a beautiful family. They were meant to be. And I got caught in the middle. It's kind of like, I don't know, being, blocking two people, like in your, I don't know, in basketball, or I don't do sports, but when you're blocking them and they want to get around you, or
we got
you know what I'm saying?
Sports
I just felt like I
not your
was
suit. Got you.
not my suit. I just felt like I was in the way, and I apologize. And if there's anything that I could say to Ashley and Jared, like, I am so sorry for how things happened. I genuinely had a friendship with Ashley before that. What's so funny is there's photos of her and I that pop up on my phone, and I think she's a really good person. And I think she just like is a genuine person, and I'm sad for how things ended up, because I think we could have been real friends. And I'm sorry, because Jared's super cool, and they're just, I just shouldn't have been in the middle. I don't even know what to say in this situation. Have you ever been in a love triangle?
No.
Mike needs to go on Paradise, find out.
No,
Mike, come on.
No, haven't been in a love triangle. Sorry, haven't been there.
That's the thing. You don't. Sometimes you don't know in real life. You don't know if you're in a love triangle. Like, you may be the other person. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
On The Bachelor, though, you're in a love triangle.
Talking about love triangle on The Bachelor, what advice do you have for someone that may be in a love triangle from Bachelor Paradise this season that's about to come out?
Oh my gosh. If my advice for anyone in a love triangle would be just like be your genuine self. Only stay into it if you feel a genuine connection. Mm-hmm. Don't get in other people's way. Don't meddle. Like, if you see two people mutually connecting and you're the third party, just like go away. Wow. See someone else. Go to Wells at the bar. Grab a second margarita.
Have a few margaritas, yeah.
Yes, like, do not be the third wheel. Just like let people live out their relationships and don't interfere.
I think the first part of that is general.
Yeah.
Do you still keep up with the show?
I do. Yeah,
you do?
I do. I love the show. I'll be honest. I watch The Bachelor more than I do Paradise. I feel like Paradise still like makes me a little nauseous, but I watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette religiously.
Kayla, I must know, since I'm loving you and Nick, we're all going to get barbecue. We're going to the slip slide. When am I going to be an uncle? Tell me.
Ooh, yes. Everybody wants to know.
Mike, tell me the secret. If you know how to make a baby, let me know. We will see. Time will tell. It's kind of like in the works. We'll see. And hopefully in the next year.
Hopefully next year. You heard it here first. In a perfect world, you could talk to God. How many are we having?
I think 3, maybe 4.
Ooh.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Okay.
Are you sure you're ready for that?
Yes, I have 2 arms. He has 2 arms. Strap
that's
one
the
to
thought
the front,
process,
the
Brian.
back.
I have 2 arms. He has 2 arms. I love it.
It's like, I remember my
we love
sister
to
said that.
travel.
I remember my sister said that. She was like, after 2, she was like, yeah, I'm done. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, that's it. Two and done. Oh man. That's great.
Two and done. So, last question for you, then we'll let you go. Do you have any hopes for the Bachelor franchise? And if so, what are they?
My hope for the Bachelor franchise is that it keeps its authentic self from the beginning. When I was on the show, it was before social media was big, and our season was still like girls who just wanted to date the guy, and I just hope that we just have more genuine people who are looking for love. And I understand there's like the entertaining, there's the drama, but I'm there for the love. So I just hope we have a ton of girls and a ton of guys who are ready to meet their person, because that's what I want to see.
Do you feel like it hasn't been there for the love as of late?
I feel like people have been really distracted by other things. I feel like some people haven't been ready, but whenever there's, you know, something works out, like Bryan and Rachel, like I lived for that. Like I loved Rachel. I love your season. Like that's what keeps me going. And so I think that gives a lot of us hope. And for us old married couples like Nick and I, like we want to see that romance still alive and happening before us. So I think the past couple of years, it's been hard to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of cloud chasers and, you know, platform
Exactly.
seekers. And yeah, hopefully those guys or women can be weeded out, you know, and the true love stories prevail in the end.
Totally.
And then lastly, you know, we know that your favorite podcast ever is Talking It Out, and we always love for our guests to drop a gem. What's the gem that you have for us, Kayla?
My gem is that life is too short to wait to fall in love. Whether that's with your career, whether that's with a passion project, whether it's with another person or yourself, life is too short.
Got to take massive action. Go for it. There you go. Love that.
I know. Sorry. I had like, yeah.
I needed to hear that. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for being on today. Thank you for that, Jim. I needed to hear that. I appreciate you so much.
Of course. No, thank you guys for talking out with me. You're so sweet and so awesome. And if you're ever in Austin, Bryan, the three of us have to go out.
Listen, Rachel went to Texas, so we could potentially be in Austin very soon visiting.
I'm trying to get them to come to the UT
Tailgate?
and Bama game. Yes.
Let's go. I'm down.
There you go.
I'm all about college football.
Bro, we see.
I promise I'll let my husband Nick do all the sports talking. I'll just like,
yeah, please.
I'll be the
You and your
cheerleader in the
reference
back.
was
It's all
terrible.
good.
She was like block and I don't know, you know, go around like
a pick. It's called a pick. It's called a pick.
It's all good. It's all good. So thank you so much for coming on, Kayla. I know, you know, some of the questions weren't easy, but thank you for just being open and honest with us and sharing your truth.
definitely. I was second that.
Appreciate you having me.
For sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh man, Mike, that was a refreshing conversation with Kayla. I mean, I thought she, you know, we asked difficult questions, you know, difficult topics that, you know, obviously she's been affected by, you know, and I thought she handled it gracefully and, you know, was able to be really open and honest with us.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the beautiful thing about getting to see the aftermath of something take place, of something that had happened and how you handle it afterwards, is when someone can see your character. And she was apologetic and she seemed to have learned from her situation. And that's what's beautiful to see, right?
Yeah.
How the person grows from a situation.
From
so, Kayla, I salute you. I'm just happy for you and Nick. So love having you on.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed that conversation. And to all of our listeners, we hope you did too. So thank you for tuning into today's episode.
And you know we always love to hear your opinions, your stories, your comments, and your insight. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow us. Message us on Talking It Out, BN on IG. That's Talking It Out, B as in Bachelor, N as in Nation on IG. And as always, baby, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Listen to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And baby, don't DM me no more. Till you that subscribe. We love y'all.